Hola amigos, welcome back to 90 Days of Spanish. Let me ask you something. Have you ever said estoy, profesor? Or hesitated between soy or estoy? Today, we fix that. Not by memorizing a rule, but by understanding the logic behind it. This is day 9. Before we jump into the grammar, I want to show you something. I want to talk to you about something. A learning technique that is going to help you understand and retain the information you're going to learn in this video. Because ser and estar, the verb to be in Spanish, tends to be one of those tricky ones that gives beginner students a lot of work, a lot of hassle. So this learning technique, it's hopefully going to help you make that journey a little bit easier. There is research in cognitive psychology that shows that when a student asks themselves, why is this true? As opposed to just trying to memorize it, it is a lot easier to retain the information. This technique is often called elaborative interrogation. How does it work? Instead of memorizing ser is the verb to be for permanent things in Spanish, we ask why. Why does that make sense? So today, as we go learning the verb in this video, I want you to ask yourself every time we use it, why is this the correct verb for this sentence? Why does it make sense? That's going to help you build a more solid understanding and memory path to how it works, why it works, and when you need it, you'll have a much easier time recalling the information and making sure that you're using the correct verb for the right context. So, the verb ser, the verb to be, in present tense. Briefly, remember the list we talked about, the pronouns we need to know, yo, tú, él, ella, nosotros, ustedes, ellos, ellas. Good. How does it work? How do we conjugate it? Let's briefly have a look at it. Yo soy, tú eres, él es, ella es, nosotros somos, ustedes son, ellos son, ellas son. So, as you can see, it's irregular, meaning the changes are quite different. It looks quite different from ser to soy to eres. It looks quite different, yes, so it is irregular. But that's not a big deal. It shouldn't be a big deal because in this video, we're not just trying to get you to memorize the verb and this chart. That's not what this video is about, because there is a chart. And I can't just tell you, well, off you go, good luck, memorize it, right? What would be the point of the video? It would be a 1-minute video. That's not the point. The point is, let's learn how to use it, when to use it, and why does it make sense within the logic of Spanish. Not translating it from English, but learning it within the language that we're learning in Spanish. Alright, use case number 1, identity. Examples: soy profesor, soy estudiante, soy madre, soy padre. Why does it work? Because a profession or a role that you have in life, in society, in your environment is a part of your identity. It's part of who you are. It's not a temporary thing, susceptible to quick changes. That's the logic. That's why for this type of use, professions and your role, we use ser. Makes sense, right? If you're enjoying this structured way of learning Spanish, learning about the use, learning about the logic behind things, as opposed to just memorizing things, memorizing charts, this is exactly the way that we learn in my 6-week executive Spanish intensive. If you want to know more about that, more information in the description down below, follow the link to my website. Use number 2, nationality and origin. Examples: soy español, soy costarricense, soy de Inglaterra. So at this point, ask yourself, why? Why ser for this particular case? Well, because where you're from, it's part of your identity, it's part of who you are. You don't temporarily become from another country. You can change nationality, you can get a second nationality, but it's not a temporary thing that you do, Monday to Friday, and then next week you're back to another one, right? It's a fixed thing. It's part of who you are. That's why. Use number 3, characteristics. Examples: soy alto, soy responsable, soy amable. These are inherent traits, part of who you are as a person. Let's compare. Estoy cansado. I'm tired. Estoy cansado. Is that an inherited part of who you are? A tired person? No, that's just how you find yourself in the moment. Estoy cansado as a result of a busy day or a busy week. That's a temporary thing. That's why for cansado, tired, we use estar, not ser. But for inherent traits of who you are, soy, we use ser. Soy alto, I'm tall. Soy amable, I'm friendly. Soy responsable, I'm responsible. So it's not just a matter of temporary versus permanent. It's about identity versus state. The state you find yourself in, that's short term. That is estar. The identity that is a part of you, that is ser. Much clearer, right? So let's see some common beginner mistakes that I often run into with my students. Don't say estoy profesor. Why not? Because profesor is your profession, is your job. It is a permanent thing. It's a part of your identity, right? It is not the state you find yourself in. So, not estoy profesor, soy profesor. You can say estoy cansado, I am tired. Estoy feliz, I'm happy. Estoy listo, I'm ready. Because these are states you find yourself in, right? What's the state in estoy cansado? Well, you're temporarily tired. You're tired. That's the state you find yourself in at the moment you're saying that. Estoy cansado. I'm tired. Estoy feliz. I'm happy. Again, it's a state. You're not happy 24/7. You're happy in the moment you're saying you're happy. Estoy feliz. And so that's a state, not a part of your identity. Estoy listo. I'm ready. Again, it's not a part of your identity that you're ready. You're just letting people know that in this moment, you're ready. You're ready to begin the exercise. You're ready, as in you completed the homework that was given to you. You're ready. That's the state you find yourself in. That's why here we use estar, not ser. That's the big difference. State, identity. Keep remembering that and keep questioning, why does it make sense? Now, let's make some sentences. Let's use it in a bit of a larger context with more verbs than just that one, and in a sense that makes sense, that adds more information to the context, to the use case scenario. For example, soy de Costa Rica. Soy de Costa Rica. I'm from Costa Rica. Right? That's part of who I am. That's part of my identity. It's where I'm from. Soy de Costa Rica. Pero, remember the connectors we learned on day 8. Pero vivo en Inglaterra. But I live in England. So we're combining this. This is very important stuff we're doing, because not only are we combining them when we're building sentences, but we are developing a very clear understanding of why we're using the verbs we're using, how they work, and when we need to use them. Understanding the language that you're learning, understanding Spanish when you're trying to use it within the logic of Spanish is what's going to take you from just knowing random phrases like ¿Dónde está la biblioteca? Where's the library? And una cerveza por favor, a beer please, to actually taking the vocabulary that you learn, the new words that you're learning on a weekly basis, and speaking, communicating, sharing your thoughts and ideas. So that's why this is so important, so crucial to the process. Let's see another example. Soy profesor y trabajo en línea. Soy profesor. I'm a teacher. Again, it is my identity, it's who I am, it's what I do, it's my job, it's my role. Y trabajo en línea. And I work online. So, why soy profesor, not estoy profesor? If you know the answer to that, you're understanding this video. You're understanding the topic of today. So make sure you understand. And if you don't, pause. Think for a moment. What's happening? Why soy profesor, right? Both ser and estar, soy and estoy, are to be in English. But that's not what matters. What matters here is, why are we using it in Spanish the way we're using it? Let's keep going. So here is something I want you to do. Try this. Write a sentence, a part of your identity, using ser, something that describes who you are, how you are, right? It could be a physical characteristic, an inherent trait of who you are, right? You're tall, you're short, right? You're fast, you're slow, whatever you want it to be. Write it down and then ask yourself, why does it work? What is the reason you're using soy and not estoy? And write that in the comments. Not just your sentence, but also your reasoning. And then we can have a look and see how are we doing with this? Are we understanding this? So, today we've learned 4 things. How to use ser for identity. Why does it work logically? How to avoid making easy beginner mistakes. And how asking why when we're learning something helps you with your memory, with your recollection for using it later on when you need it. If you're learning Spanish casually, just keep following this series. Give a like to the video and subscribe. But if you're a professional who wants structured, accelerated progress with feedback and accountability, I open small cohorts for my 6-week Executive Spanish Intensive. Each cohort is limited to just 5 students, and the new cohort is now open. It is application-based, so if you're serious about transforming your Spanish in 6 weeks, the link is in the description. Nos vemos en el día 10.